Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why there's so much confusion about volume out there. Right? There's so much confusion about volume, and it really because you have some of the hit people or guys like Dorian Yates out there who have actually done the same volumes everyone else has done. You know, that 10 to 20 set range, kind of that sweet spot per week. Who called it 5 sets, right? Or 4 sets or whatever, because he wasn't counting his warm ups where he would do 405 pounds for sets of eights on the barbell row. Those are just warm ups, right? Because if he can left a couple reps in the tank and he can actually do 10, he didn't count them. Well, that's also silly. Or you have the people who push such high volumes, even in some of these evidence-based circles, which is ludicrous because the evidence doesn't even support their notions most of the time. And all of us who are coaches out here, we've all had these clients who follow these recommendations who come to us and like, I couldn't make any gains, and you cut their volume 70% from what they were doing and they start making gains again. And it really is because people don't understand what we mean by 10 to 20 sets. 10 to 20 hard sets a week for muscles. And I would contend with people that if you're exceeding 20 reps, or 20 sets, for a muscle in a week, you're exceeding 20, I'm going to very seriously question how hard you're training. Okay? If you are not, within a matter of months experiencing symptoms of overtraining, you aren't hurting all the time, and you're able to, and you don't just feel like hammered dog crap, particularly if you're drug free, you're not training that hard. You just aren't. Your sets are low quality. Your sets are low quality. They're not even close to failure. And I'm not telling people to take things to failure. Right? I would honestly like to see most exercises ideally about 1 or 2 reps away from hitting like true muscle failure. For big movements, small movements, we can take those right there to that edge, or a curl or something. Okay, fine. You want to take a curl or a calf raise to failure? Not the end of the world. I think that's perfectly acceptable. Okay? Smaller movements. Big movements, obviously, we don't want to get to failure, but you also don't want 5 reps left in reserve. Okay. So, that being said, people don't train hard and then they do these huge amounts of volumes and wonder why it's not working. They wonder why it's not working. Or they do try to train hard and then their performance gets terrible. Or you get the people who just way undertrain. And what I always try to tell guys, you start going down to really low volumes, you can still make progress doing it, but you better be training really, really hard. So if you're around that 10 set per week mark where you start going lower, they better be serious movements. And you better be working real hard on those sets. Okay? All right? You better be working real hard. But I'll occasionally see guys who will come to me as clients who they got too far into the low volume and they're doing 6 or 8 sets per muscle group a week. And then some of it's single joint stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? They're like, my biceps aren't coming along. They're doing 3 sets of chins and 3 sets of concentration curls. And they're doing it all really slow control. They're not putting a lot of contractile effort into it. Okay, this is a problem. So, when we talk about 10 to 20, what do we mean? Are they hard sets? Are you going real close to failure? A perfect example. Let's take some of my current back and bicep workout that I did the week that I'm making this video. Not counting my deadlifts, all my benching, all that stuff. What am I doing for my back and biceps? Both of my upper body days, 5 sets of weighted pull-ups. Okay? All right. That's working rear delts, traps, everything. 5 sets. Works lats for 5 sets. It's 5 sets for biceps. Now, people say that's not a great exercise. Yeah, but it's not the only thing I'm doing. All right. 5 sets of pullovers. Yeah, that works chest and everything, but is it working all the muscles of the upper back? Absolutely. It's working lats, posterior delts, traps, all that stuff. Yeah, that's all being worked. It's hitting some tricep too. That's a different topic. But it's working that. All right, curls. I do 5 sets of standing barbell curls. Well, that's definitely biceps. We could argue it works shoulders. I think there's a very good case to be made for it being a shoulder exercise. It's definitely 5 sets for biceps. I mean, a full range of motion standing barbell curl. You'll see them coming. You'll see them in this video. Yeah, that's 5 sets for your biceps, brachialis, everything. Especially full range of motion. You do that twice a week. Now where are we at? 20 sets for biceps, 20 sets for lats, and the rest of my back, posterior delts. I mean, before we even get into my benching, have we worked all of our shoulders fairly thoroughly? Ooh, there's a good question. Have we done at least 10 sets for all of the delt? I think we have. I think that we have off of that. Okay. You see where we're going with this? All right, let's take a lower body. What do we mean? How do we get into the 10 to 20 set range? If we want to do some simple exercises. You do 5 sets of deadlifts, 5 sets of squats. It's going to be like the curls. People will say, well, some of those aren't the best exercises for certain muscles. That's true. You could argue the pull-ups are not the best exercise for biceps. So what do we got for biceps on that? 10 sets of a less than ideal exercise, it's still a good exercise, and then 10 great exercises for the bicep, 10 sets. Does that put us in the 10 to 20? I think 20 sets works great if half of the sets are subpar, maybe not the best for that muscle, but work some other stuff really well. I think that's perfectly acceptable, because if we're doing 10 sets that are really good, right? No one's going to argue that pull-ups are not amazing for lats and rear delts. Well, you got 10 sets. So how much you want to count the pullovers or whatever? Well, maybe it's not as good. Yeah, but that's your other 10. See how that works? You got 10 sets that everyone universally agree are phenomenal movement for that muscle. And then 10 sets that people will argue whether it's a good exercise for that muscle or how good it is. Does that put us in the 10 to 20? Absolutely. Oh, there's a way to cheat this. There you go. All right, same thing with the squat and deadlift and some calf raises. Okay, squats. Anyone going to argue that full range of motion squats are not a phenomenal quad and glute exercise? Abductor? Of course not. Anyone going to argue that deadlifts are not a great glute exercise? It's one of the biggest primary movers. Glute probably contributes more to your max deadlift than any other muscle. Okay, that's a no-brainer. It's a great hamstring builder too. All right, so what do we have there? But it's people are like, well, it works quads, but not as amazing. Okay, but you got 10 sets of squats. 10 amazing, and then 10 decent sets for quads. That's 10 to 20. We're good. Glutes, 20 great sets. Hamstrings, okay. Squat, maybe not so good. Deadlifts, absolutely. Calves, you did 5 sets of calf raises both days. Right, that's 10 sets. How about squats? Squats are a great calf exercise. 20 sets for our calves just got done. I didn't even get into chest and the benching, because obviously benching and stuff in there. But do you guys see how that works? See how easy it is to be in that sweet spot? All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.